Hello, I'm Ida. I am Swedish, but I'm coming to you from Vienna in Austria. I live here since 18 years with my family. We moved here about 18 years ago from Sweden, and we were only going to stay for three years, and that was 18 years ago. I have been inspired by many podcasters, knitting podcasters, that are sharing what they're doing on a YouTube channel, and I wanted to try it too. So here we go. Welcome to my studio in Vienna. My Instagram is Knittingonmymind, and you can also find me on Ravelry under Knittingonmymind, and I also have a Facebook page, but I'm not very active on Facebook. So Instagram or Ravelry is the place where you can meet me. I have seen that in many introductions the podcasters show what they are drinking and their cup, so I will do so too. I am having some black tea with berry taste mixed with the black tea. And I'm drinking it out of my Elsa Beskow cup. Elsa Beskow was almost an Art Deco artist in Sweden. She illustrated children's books, and this mug, which I love, is the illustration is from the book Pelles skidfärd, Pelles skiing trip. And this is the person on the figure on the mug is the Winter King, and I think it's so nice. It's a very nice large cup, and it's very nice for the winter. Cheers! So I am going to share a little bit about my knitting, what I knit, and my passions, and so it will mostly be works in progress, whips. Today also a couple of finished socks, and I think we should dive right into it and start to talk about what I am wearing. I am wearing an Icelandic sweater, which is called damjacka med luva, and the pattern, which I'm now reaching for, is from the Swedish company, or at least I have gotten it by the Swedish company Järbogarn, and this is the original pattern. It's green. It calls for buttons here or a zipper, and as you can see, it also has a hood in the back. The design is by Vedis Jonsdottir, and originally it's for Eastex, which is the company in Iceland, the spinner in Iceland who makes Lett Lopi yarn, because this is also made out of Lett Lopi. And these are my favorite colors, red and blue. And you can also see here in the back is the hood. I don't really use it as a hood, but I really like the nice feeling of having a hood. I didn't put buttons in. I put in some Norwegian hooks that I have saved from a Norwegian sweater that I washed too hot. So unfortunately, everything that could be used after that wash was the hooks. So I have 3 hooks, and then I'm just letting it fall down like this. I am a big fan of Icelandic wool. I like to knit in Icelandic wool. Here in Austria, many of my knitting friends think I am a crazy lady because I love the Icelandic wool. They say, "Oh, it's so scratchy. How can you wear it on your body?" But I can show you. I'm wearing it. I don't have any long sleeves on underneath, and I can take it. I love it. It's so warm and nice. When I have finished project in Lett Lopi in the Icelandic wool, I usually let it soak in a little bit of conditioner, water and conditioner, and that makes it a little bit softer. I have knitted a lot of these kind of sweaters. I think this is the only jacket I have made. But I did knit it as a sweater, and then I cut it, of course, here, and the button bands are knitted in seed stitch, I think it is in English. Yes, but the other ones that I have knitted have mostly been, all of them have been sweaters actually. And so I have always dreamed about going to Iceland, and 2 years ago me and my husband finally went. We rode Icelandic horses, we made a road trip around on the island actually. We didn't go around as many people do, we actually went from the south to the north, across the country, which was amazing. And of course we bought Icelandic wool. I let my husband pick out some wool. I had already picked out a pattern. I have made I have made a couple of ridaris, so I wanted to make another pattern, and I found a book called Modern Lopi. You can find it on Ravelry. I don't have the name of the designer right now here, but the book, it's an ebook, it's called Modern Lopi, and the pattern I'm making for my husband is called Asymptote. Asymptote, you can see it here, picture. And I persuaded my husband to pick out some gray yarn, as the pattern calls for actually. And then gray is green is not really his color, so for the pattern part and the yoke he picked out beige and red, these two colors, and then there will be also a brown in the yoke. So these are the 4 colors, you can see them here. Yeah, and I'm almost as far as to starting the yoke. I have finished the arms and the body. Almost, I have a couple of centimeters to knit before I can start the yoke. And the yoke is the fun part, because then you get to knit with a lot of colors. And my size needle, I think it's 4.5 if I don't, or 5.5 actually. 5.5 centimeter. 5.5 millimeter, of course. For the rib I used a 5.5, and for the rest of the sweater I use 4.5. What I do when I knit Icelandic sweaters or big sweaters in general, I actually take half of the stitches, and I knit the rib 2 times before I put it on a round knitting needle. That I do to prevent that the knitting is twisted. The knitting is twisted. I have done that a couple of times, and I just don't want to do it again because there are a lot of stitches. That's what I do. I keep this wonderful piece in one of my self-made bags. I make my own project bags, and this is one of the techniques I use, what's that called? Quilted kind of bag, and I love using material from Liberty of London, for example. You can see there, this one is Liberty of London, and I use used materials. This one is from Laura Ashley, material that I used for a curtain many years ago. These ones are bought. Yeah, this one I got as a present, the purple and the blue one, and the other ones are patchwork, that's what it's called. Patchwork materials that I bought. And the back I made out of a very lovely material that I bought at Pearl Soho in London. I think I actually have a stain there. I bought a pack of lovely material there. Did I say that? I like to travel. And when I travel, I always go to craft stores and buy souvenirs. Souvenirs. So I'm gonna put the sweater back in the bag. And pattern. That was my Icelandic sweater that I'm working on. So the next product that I'm working on that I would like to show you is a little baby jacket. We have had a couple of babies being born in our big family, so to speak. Not in my family. My kids don't have children yet, but my brother's son had a baby in the beginning of January. And now I am knitting little Leon, this baby jacket, out of a lovely book called Babystickning på stickor 3. So it's baby knitting on needles number 3, and it's from a Danish designer, I think she's Danish, and her name is Lene Holme Samsø. And this project I keep in another project bag that I made, a drawstring bag. It's a scrappy bag. I use different materials, also from the inside. I have this blue material that somebody gave to me. Oh, that was my glasses. And I am knitting this little jacket out of Lang Merino 150. So it has 150 meters on 50 grams. And it's from the company Lang. It's superwash. I think that's practical, even though I actually like non-superwash yarns. It's practical when you have a baby. So this is the jacket for little Leo. And it doesn't have the arms yet, but I'm come pretty far. I only have, I think, 4 or 5 centimeters to knit until the jacket is finished, and it will have a rib down here. I'm knitting size 1 year because I think it's nice to be able to use it for a longer time. So, and what are the knitting needles? 3, of course, 3 millimeters. 3 millimeters. Yes, and I already found the buttons in my button collection. I have a lot of buttons. They look like this. And I am going to sew them on in with a contrast color, like this. I think it will make a fun little cross on each button. Okay, so that was my drawstring bag and the little jacket for Leo. Leo is his name. He's going. He is his name. Yes. So the next project I want to show you, I have a few on my needles, is a skirt. I was looking at this beautiful book by Nina Petrina. It's called Knitting with Gradients, and Nina Petrina is a Norwegian designer, and this book was published right before Christmas, and I thought, Ida, you have a lot of books, and you don't need any more books, and in 2019 you should try to shop a little bit less. to save the environment and not spend so much money. So I was looking at this, and I really love this skirt that was in the book. I think it is 10 or 8 patterns, different patterns. And I was looking at it, and I was looking at it, and then I decided, okay, I'll buy the ebook, because then it doesn't count. It doesn't count if I buy the ebook. It is a little bit less expensive than if you buy the real book, and also, of course, you don't. It doesn't affect the environment as much if you buy the ebook. Anyway, this is the skirt that I'm making. Inside Out skirt, and it is by Elisabeth Steeks, also known as Strick-Elisa. The up here where the waist is, it's knitted. It will have a knit side, as far as I understand, out on the outside, and then the skirt is, so to speak, turned around, so you have the inside out. You will have the wrong side out. And I decided, okay, I can buy the book, I can start to knit the skirt, but I can only use yarn from my stash. So I found some for the waistband. I started to knit with white and gray stripes, so it's not going to look exactly as in the patterns. And I'm using the suggested needle size, which is 3.5 for the waistband, and then it's going to be 5 for the body of the skirt. And this is the waistband. So I started the waistband. This is the color for the waistband, and I will show you I have a whole basket of different yarn in the same weight as is suggested. Some of them are from Wåhlstedt in Sweden, and some is from Tusenfruds, I think it is the name. Tusenfruds Vardagsull. They actually have a band I can show you. And then also some of it is from the Little Grey Sheep. And this is Wåhlstedt. Whoa! Oops. I will show you the whole thing together. This is the color palette I will knit in. The gradient skirt. I'm really looking forward to wearing it. And I'm really curious how it's going to be to knit it, and if it's going to fit. That's the most important part, maybe, or exciting part. So that's the inside out skirt. Now I have one more project to show. No, two more actually. Two more projects. This fall, a beautiful book was published in Sweden. It's called Trettiofem vantar. That means 35 mittens. So it's 35 mitten patterns. And the designer is called Maja Karlsson. Maja Karlsson is a fantastic designer. Not only is she from the same region that I come from in Sweden, Värmland, but she also designs fantastic patterns. She has already written one book, or published one book. Sticka svenska mönster, I think, or something was that book called. And I know it's published in English, and this one will also be published in English. I just don't know exactly when. And I have decided to knit the mittens on the outside, but minus the cuffs, because I don't really like these cuffs. So I have decided to make a cuff with a braid on instead. And my mittens are dark blue, and I will show you now the colors. I am knitting it out of, wait a second, I have to have the band. Rauma fin ull, PT2. And this is an only wool. It's 100% wool, I have to check. 100% Norwegian wool. And it's, I think you call it in English 2-ply. It's about 175 meter per 50 grams. And the recommended knitting needles are 2.5 to 3.5. And I have started it already before Christmas. But because I had to knit a lot of things for Christmas for my family, it kind of got stuck here on the second color. So you can see it's the fake, I think you call it fake braids. Actually, you don't need a braid needle or anything. You just cross over the stitches. And I have started with light blue and red. And there will be a green ornament and a yellow ornament. I actually think they're going to be the other way around. And I can really recommend this pattern book. It's fantastic, full of ideas, and as I did actually, I'm using this pattern for the mitten, but the cuff I picked up from another pattern in the book. And this genius little blocker that it's on is from a company called Fröken Fyrkant. It also has a part when the thumb is knitted. When you block it later, you put this in for the thumb. And it's so sweet because these blockers my daughter gifted me for my birthday, which is right before Christmas. And the blockers, Fröken Fyrkant's blockers, are inspired by the ones that she sold right before Christmas are inspired by this book, the patterns in the book. I just want to mention also that this pattern is called kurbits, and kurbits is a traditional Swedish type of art. And I actually have some pictures on the wall here because I let myself inspired by the Swedish traditional type of art. I love it. It's from a part of Sweden called Dalarna, where I actually have a small house where we go every year a couple of times. So there are a lot of feelings and dreams and happy thoughts that are going into these mittens. I have them in a smaller bag, which is also partly, what is it called again? Patchwork. And this time the patchwork consists of only material from Liberty of London, my absolute favorites. This material I made a pair of pants out of. And this one, wait a second, this one you can see in the back actually over there. I made a blouse out of, which now have to be mended. And the other ones have turned into, for example, now this is the same color as the blouse, but I also make little notion pouches, the little ring, so you can put your stitch markers on them. This is perfect to have, especially if you go on a trip or something, to keep all your stuff in. I don't know how many I have made out of this pattern. And on the back, this one has one of the materials from Pearl Soho. I like to finish my bags like this so that you have a nice corner. I forgot actually to talk about the bag that I keep my skirt in. This type of bag I also make. It is my sock bag actually. It has snaps like this, and it's nice because you can snap it, you can have the wool inside, and you can pull out only the wool. You can pull out, if you knit magic loop two at a time, you can pull out one of the wools on each side, and it's very easy to manage and open and so on. Well, that was no. I have one more thing. I have one more thing for you, which is a whip, and that will be a very long time project. And I don't have the printout pattern here, but it is called Northeasterly by Knittingonmymind, I think she's called. And it's like a Cozy Memories blanket, but it is knitted like long ribbons or long bands like this, and then they're supposed to be knitted together. And I have three advent calendars amount of minis that I was thinking of starting to knit into this. I have my Chiaco needles that I love in this needle cozy that I made, of course. And here you can see this is how far I've come. I've just started. It's gonna be a long time project, but it's really fun and goes quickly. So I think these are two different. I think am I on my third color, or is it just a second? I don't know. It's really easy. It's decreasing. Is it decreasing on the inside or outside? I don't remember. You have to look it up. Northeasterly. I think a lot of knitters on Instagram, on YouTube know this. Also on Instagram, of course. So it's gonna sleep in its little cozy here, and the whole thing goes into my really small Moomin bag. I love the Moomins. Can you see that? Moomin, there is Moomin Papa, and there is Moomin. No, that's actually Snorkfröken, his girlfriend. This is Lilla Me. This was a very small knitting bag that I made at the beginning when I started making knitting bags, and I use it for very small projects. That was it. So that was actually the works in progress that I have, except for my socks. I have decided to knit a pair of socks every month this year, and it's not going too well because these are the January ones. So I really have to work on them if I'm going to finish them before February is over. It's now the 3rd of February, so didn't really work out, but I was going on. I was doing a lot of sock knitting before Christmas, so I thought, well, I'll just go on with that. These ones are made out of a yarn from Herbstblatt Regina. It's her hazel soft sock finger in weight yarn. It's the orange one is called Candy Corner, and it's wool and polyamide 80/20, and it's on 2.5 needles, and I'm doing, as you can see, magic loop 2 at a time, which is my favorite way of knitting socks. And I am actually using 2 different, also from her advent calendar, 2 different colors for the stripes. I thought that would be fun. They're close enough so you can't really tell, but it makes it a little bit more interesting. And they are living in my puffin bag. This is a puffin sock bag. I was in 7th heaven when I found this puffin material. Could it be better? And then some stitch markers from Fröken Fyrkant, the lady with the mitten blockers. Of course, the Venus also. Venus and Maria, actually. Holy Mary. Those were my whips. But I also have some finished projects, finished socks as a matter of fact, that I want to show you before I end this little vlog podcast. These socks I finished before Christmas, and I have actually used them, so they are a little bit fluffy already. They are made out of Lang Super Socks cashmere collar 4-ply. And I bought 2 skeins, and I have been knitting from the greenish yellow side over to orange, and it's starting to be red. So I am, like you can see here on the band, I am here, about here, and now comes red, pink, purple and blue. So the second pair that I'm going to make out of this yarn is going to be red, blue and yellow, red, blue and purple. And I have made my normal vanilla sock, cuff, and then a rib here on the back so they fit well. And I have made Mina from the podcast Knitting Expat. That's funny, I'm also a knitting expat actually. She has her German short row heel that she has published, which is only with knit stitches, which makes it look like this, and I really like it. And then only a stockinette here for the foot. And the second pair that I want to show you are also typical my socks. Unfortunately, I can't find the band for this, so I can't tell you which yarn it is, but I know it's a mixture with cotton actually. And on these ones I have made braids. It's Aran braids, 2, so 1 on each side. And then I kind of wanted to finish the sock, so I just went on in stockinette, but they look really nice. And in the back, like I did on the other ones, I have a 1 times 1 rib and the cuff. And on these ones I made, can you see that? A more, I guess, conventional heel. It's a heel flap and gusset, I think they're called in English. This is actually my favorite heel. And now I'm getting really warm in my Icelandic sweater. I had to take it off. For the last sock that I want to show you, which was my Christmas sock. And they are only plain stockinette the whole way, except for the cuff up here and the heel flap and gusset, because I wanted to let the pattern shine, and I think that it looks, you can see it better if it's only stockinette. And these socks are made out of Ferner Wolle, which is an Austrian company, and it's their called their Mali Socks Weihnachtsedition. So it's a Christmas edition. It's 75% virgin wool superwash and 25% polyamide. And the recommended knitting needles are 3.5 to 4. And the skeins were 150 grams, so I have a little bit left of this. And I really like this wool. It's really soft and nice, and they were quick to knit. And it was fun to knit in a wool that is produced here in Austria. Christmas socks 2018. Well, friends out there in the knitting world, this was fun. I think I'm going to do it again. Maybe it will be probably in 2 weeks, because I'm going away for a little while. I will upload this. I will try to upload it tomorrow, and I hope that we can meet again. If you want to go and see what I make, you can look me up on Instagram, where I am Knittingonmymind. Have a nice week, and I hope to see you again. Bye from Vienna.